Honorable Buffer Chambers respondent. Growing out of reference, petition for the impeachment of His Honor Kabina Mohammed Janel, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia, for proved misconduct, abuse of public office, wanton abuse of judicial discretion, fraud, misuse of power and corruption. Republic of Liberia, to Brigadier General Amos B. Cassell Dixon, Senior Marshal Supreme Court of Liberia, or his deputy Monrovia. You are hereby commanded to notify the Honorable House of Representatives of the National Legislature by and through its Speaker respondent in the above entitled cause of action to appear before Her Honor Siane G. Yor, Associate Justice presiding in chambers of the Honorable Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, Temple of Justice, on the 18th day of August 2018, at the hour of 9 a.m. to show cause why petitioner's petition as prayed for should not be granted. And you are hereby commanded to instruct the respondent to stay all further proceedings in the matter, and that the parties are ordered returned to status quo ante pending the disposition of the petition. You are further commanded to instruct the respondent herein to file its returns to this rate in the office of the clerk of this honorable court on or before the said 18th day of August 2018, and to read to the respondent the original and leave a copy of the writ of prohibition with the respondent, and as to when and how you shall have served this writ, you will make known by filing your official returns hereto on the back of the original copy of this writ in the office of the clerk of this honorable court on or before the said 18th day of August 2018. And for so doing, they shall constitute your legal and sufficient authority, giving under my hand and seal of the Honorable Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, this 8th day of August 2018. Anthony Sam the signature covered the name Mamutu or something. Acting Clerk, Supreme Court, Republic of Liberia. Mr. Speaker, honorable ladies and gentlemen, that was a reading of the writ of prohibition from the Supreme Court to this honorable House of Representatives. Read it. That's fine.
What's more, any decision was reached on that in chambers, what is your will and pleasure?
Speaker, distinguished colleagues, given the importance of this communication that has come from the judicial branch of government, will move that indeed the communication be open for discussion and then subsequent action be taken. By obtaining a second.
So second.
It has been moved and seconded that the document was read, open for discussion. Are you ready to vote?
Yeah.
All those in favor make it known by saying yea.
Yeah.
Against? Open for discussion. Mama Gray.
Presiding and fellow colleagues, with the reading of said communication from the Supreme Court, from the Justice in Chamber, asking this body to halt proceedings relating to the impeachment of Associate Justice Kabina Janet, on behalf of the distinguished people of District No. 8, Montserrat County, let me begin by saying that it's a direct attack on the House of Representatives. I see this as a calculated attempt not only to usurp the constitutional functions of this body, but such action is also intended to impede our legislative function. And one of those functions, the Constitution and the Liberian people in 1985 and subsequently coming into law in 1986, that function has to do with impeachment. And it's not just impeachment, but it says a bill of impeachment. There have been no time in the political history of the Republic of Liberia since 1822 and independence in 1847 that a bill, because the impeachment is the bill of impeachment, that the bill has been halted by the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. If anyone wants to challenge the bill, it's after the bill is passed, signed into law, and people raise those issues about the constitutionality of the bill. The second point here is like the legislature stopping the police from charging one of its own because a colleague in the legislature has an issue. That's one of the points. The next issue here is that the Justice Janet, who filed the petition, who signed the affidavit on his signature, is in gross abuse. What do I mean by that? The case with Councillor Christina Ta, former Justice Minister. When she released journalist Ronison, the court held. When she argued for a reconsideration of the decision and petitioned the very Supreme Court, she signed as Councillor Christina Ta, Minister of Justice. Punitive measures were taken against her. Similarly with Serena Cephas, as Councillor, punitive measure was taken. Councillor Rakin's right, similarly, punitive measure was taken because they used their portfolio. If you look at the petition, similarly, it's under the signature of Justice Janet, not just as Janet, but Councillor Janet, a Justice of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. I think they should know the law better when they punish other people on the dodging of that. There is another issue to this, that if you look at the petition, and you look at what is served on us, if you look at the dossier of evidence, the justice should even be charged, the Associate Justice Janet should even be charged for what we call theft of property. Because the meaning of that conversation that we had that day, he has not been served by the ad hoc committee. He has never been served. So how did he get that? That is also theft of property. But borrowing on the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, wherein power is inherent in the people and we represent the people. Not only that, but Article 43 of the Liberian Constitution spells out clearly that we are charged with responsibility to impeach. That is, we are the juror, we indict, while the Senate removed by tutel. And acting in conformity of the law, we want further ourselves before even the impeachment proceeding starts. What we need to do is to carve the rules by Article 43 of the Liberian Constitution, which should be endorsed. Let me just read something from Walter and Judge Walter L. Nelson versus the United States government. I want you to listen to what the Supreme Court said, why the Supreme Court could not intervene in the impeachment of the judge. It said the court listed reasons why the judiciary and the Supreme Court were not chosen to have any role in impeachment and elsewhere agreed within the appeal court, opening the doors of judicial review to the procedure used by the Senate in trying impeachment who exposed the political life of the country to months or perhaps life of chaos. Therefore, the United States Supreme Court could not intervene. The next point here says, impeachment presents a true political question. Example, the Constitution confers that power on the Senate to remove. The Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, similarly, this is the most suited case. And as lawyers, even before you issue a prohibition or an injunction, you should be properly schooled under the doctrine of the Lord in this case study. I believe that it's not only an attempt to ridicule this body or bring this august body to public disrepute. It's a calculated attempt to create a tyrannical branch of government, a dictatorial branch of government that will usurp our function, and in fact we are the first branch of government as spelled by the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. Why are we the first branch of government? Because we represent the people. We represent the people. We are not saying that the Supreme Court is not the final arbiter of justice, but what we are saying, there is an antithesis to that final arbiter. And the antithesis, just by the Supreme Court ruling of the United States of America, is impeachment. They cannot prevent that, and they could not intervene. So the action to file an injunction, and I will use the word here, it's a calculated attempt by the Justice's Chamber. And let me quote directly from the case Water L. Nation versus the United States government and all. That attempt is to expose the political life of the country to months or perhaps life of chaos. And we will not support chaos. We will never support chaos. So let me rest my case at my fellow colleague, and probably we will speak on another time. We is our right on our rules. But before I do that, at least I forgot. The question of the High Court Committee can never be questioned. On Section 9, Article 9, Section 9, Article 9, Section 52. Let me repeat. Under Article 9, Section 52 of the Rebels Rule, which is part of our legislative practices here by rules, it's very clear that there can be whole committees. The plenary can reduce itself into a whole committee. There can be a specialized committee under Article 9, Section 52, and that specialized committee is an ad hoc committee intended to look into a specific matter for a time frame. And after that committee reports, the function of the committee ceases to exist. There can be no argument. We are people who have read here. We are lay people. Many of the guys who are here sit here today, many of the gentlemen who sit here today, we are adult schoolmates. Some of them graduated before us. We have some of the best lawyers in the history of the country. We have some of the most educated people in the history of the country. Not only that, but we have some of the most wise, or let me just say the wisest, some of the wisest people in the history of the country in this legislature. We represent 73 political electoral districts. That's what we represent. So as a result of that, the 73 political electoral districts have said these are the people who won. These are the people who can represent us. Any attempt by us to subordinate our constitutional authority, that is tantamount to suicide. And I can say for sure here today that what is best to do is to fight for justice, then to tamper with justice. To do that, it's not only to undermine you, it's also to undermine the people that you represent that will come to you to stand and defend them. Honorable Speaker, fellow colleagues, let me again state to you that there is not a wish hunt. It can never be a wish hunt today. It can never be a wish hunt tomorrow. For anybody to believe that inviting the speaker to the police station for some alleged crimes being committed, that could lead to chaos, then there is no need to have a speaker. Similarly, if anybody believes that inviting the member of the Associate Justice to this plenary it means chaos, then that person does not believe in the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. And as a result of that, this notice that has been served on us must be gunned down. The The Speaker must be given the authority to communicate with the justice in chamber, because the communication comes from the justice in chamber. That this body cannot subordinate itself, and this body will not, because under Speaker Ellis Tano, how we subordinate ourselves. Similarly, what will happen here, we have a precedent case. And they want to have a precedent case that no judge in the future will be impeached. Not even a president or a vice president will be impeached, because the next time you will just run to the court to stop the process. And in fact, we have not started proceeding, so why are they stopping? Thank you very much.
The Constitution says, any law to the contrary notwithstanding. Article 43 specifically, like Honorable Gray said, gave the power of preparing the bill of impeachment to the House. Say solely, the word is solely, it means only. And also, the prohibition coming from the justice in chamber is in clear violation of this Constitution. In Article 43, matter of impeachment of a justice, associate justice, can only be tried by a chief justice, not even the bench of the Supreme Court, but a chief justice. So for a justice in chamber, okay, to send a letter of prohibition or to put a stay order on the action of preparing a bill of impeachment is in violation of the Constitution, and also intended clearly to impede the function of the legislature. In Article 44, did not say that the contempt power is limited. It's not limited. I will speak out the Speaker Cody. So I'll try to provide that information, and then we can come back later. I won't give you the chance. Thank you.
The decision, the communication written by the Supreme Court is in the right direction to place an injunction on the House's decision. And in my mind, Mr. Presiding, yes, it's guided by the Constitution under Article 66 of the Constitution. And I will read it verbatim there. Article 66 of the Constitution states, and I quote, "The Supreme Court shall be the final arbiter of constitutional issues and shall exercise final appealing jurisdiction in all cases, whether emanating from courts or record, courts, not all record, administrative agencies, autonomous agencies, or any other authority, both as to law and facts, except cases involving ambassador, ministers of cases, in which a country is a party.
Information.
In all such cases, the Supreme Court shall exercise original jurisdiction. The legislature shall make no law or create any exception as would deprive the Supreme Court of any of the power granted herein." The Constitution is saying that whether the issue borders on the Supreme Court, they are the only arbiter of the Republic of Liberia to adjudicate constitutional matter. And what we are discussing and has to do with impeachment is constitutional matter. Now, Mr. Presiding, it can be recalled as a House of Representatives under Article 44 of the Constitution, we have contempt power. It can be recalled one of our colleagues, Dopo, were arrested by police or the Ministry of Transport when they were. No. I'm giving you a case study.
Order, man. Order. You can't make that comparative analysis. Order.
And Honorable Dopo is a member of the House of Representatives, while the gentleman in question was a member of the executive. And in that vein, Honorable Dopo felt humiliated, molested, harassed, intimidated, and wrote the plenary of the House to summon. Excuse me.
Honorable Speaker, information, man.
Consistent with Article 44 of the Constitution. You know very well, and also Article 42. So it was constitutional matter, and no lawmaker, while going to session upon session, can be detained or arrested.
Information.
That was your matter.
Information. The information here is that Honorable Koka, who is raising this issue today, he said that we should not invite the people. Honorable Koka. You see, when you vote, you got to remember how you voted on issue. The second information here, the Honorable Koka, is that to every clause in the Constitution, or to many clauses in the Constitution, there are counter clauses. You should understand that. There are certain immunities we enjoy, and there are certain immunities we don't enjoy. That's why, when you listen to this, the U.S. Supreme Court could not intervene because they said the issue of impeachment presents a true political question. It's conferred on the legislature, and nobody can get involved into it. That's what they said. So for somebody to hold one line of the Constitution, that's what we call attacking a straw man in logical fallacy. And I'm sorry to say that the argument by our colleague is under the doctrine of logical fallacy, which should not be entertained in this place here today.
Distinguished to derive here is two sense of justice. And I think the issue here is that we should know our boundaries. Our boundaries are spelled out by the Constitution. A bill cannot be challenged.
That's my issue.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill cannot be challenged.
Thank you.
Because a bill is proffering a thought. Until that is consummated, it cannot be challenged. So I think this is a non-issue regarding the responsibility of this House of Representatives. Just yesterday at 3:17 Eastern Time in the United States, West Virginia House votes to impeach all 4 state Supreme Court justices. And the issue that was core in that action was impropriety. They used money that they should not have used. The issue also brought before us was that Justice Jana bought a property from a 4-year-old person. That's what was brought here before us. As things to be corrected. So we have to be rigorous as to how we approach the issue. So, distinguished colleagues, I think what have been stated abbreviated the case. So we got to make progress. Yes.
The action of the justice in chambers. The action of the justice in chambers is tantamount to impeding a function of the legislature. And anyone who impedes a function of the legislature is tantamount also to contempt. And in my view, we are not just going to not appear before the justice in chambers, but I think that the justice in chambers must be called to this very plenary to show cause why she should not be held in contempt for impeding the function of the legislature. Thank you very much.
Yeah, please.
Deputy Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, I move, if I can obtain a second, that the justice in chamber to be invited to provide a legal reliance why the letter of prohibition is not in violations of Article 43 and 44 of our Constitution. Okay, you want for me to go harder than that.
Go ahead, we're listening to you.
Mr. Speaker,
I move, if I can obtain a second, that this plenary writes the justice in chamber, letting her know that this plenary, through the speaker, is not going to appear before the justice in chambers.
Is that motion?
Yes, I'm moving.
I don't want to distract you.
I'm still protected. That we do a letter to the justice in chambers that we're not going to appear before the justice in chambers, and we are going to proceed with the process that is going on.
So second.
Honorable, this is a House of Representatives. Guided by it has been moved and seconded that the communication sent by the justice in the chamber should be considered as an instrument that has not arrived in this legislature, in these chambers. With that, are you ready to vote?
Already.
Yeah, please, Honorable God, please your readiness.
I will be ready to vote if you can accept this simple amendment that all motion for reconsideration should be tested through vote. It should be tested through vote now.
Fellow colleague to the movement, I'll be ready to vote if you can accept the simple amendments. That being that there have been a full quorum established here today under the doctrine of our rules, that one, our rules be completely suspended under that doctrine once the quorum was established. That two, that our judiciary, the ad hoc committee chairman, that is the co-chairman on judiciary, be made to liaise with the speaker to cut that communication to be sent to the justice in chamber.
With that said, are you ready to vote? The Honorable Jones.
Mr. Speaker, fellow colleagues, I will be ready to vote if the amendment just proposed by Cody will be reconsidered. Because according to the according to our rules, all communication leaving from this body should be done through the chief clerk. So I will be ready to vote if we can follow that aspect of our rules.
The first amendment that was done was to cap, to send a letter. We know our rules are clear. When we have to send any communication, it has to go through chief clerk. So you not say anything extra, so I said what you just said.
Those amendments, are you not ready to vote? Against? Abstain?
He bravely not to vote against.
Our Deputy Speaker, distinguished Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, there are now 4 not against, 1 abstention. Thank you very much.
You can't do it.
Please sit down, please. Please sit down. With that said, the motion carried. However, the amendment to the motion was that all motion for reconsideration be tried here and now.
Yes, I agree.
Please,
I agree.
please go ahead with your motion. Please go ahead.
Mr. President, it's a day that we all would make history. Mr. Presiding, distinguished colleagues, I find for motion of reconciliation on grounds that motion of reconsideration on grounds that the issue under review has to do with issue of constitutionality. In honor of our laws, anything that has to do with constitution, it has to do with Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. Even if a member of the Supreme Court is about to be impeached, or there is an impeachment proceeding towards that individual, he has the own right to judiciary approach. If a group of citizens also went to court and pray for prohibition that the Supreme Court should write the House of Representatives that the proceeding of impeachment that is about to occur should be halted until they get to the Supreme Court for an inquiry, I think it is prudent enough. That does not mean that you should stop in totality, but they want to know what led to the decision. It is a right of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia to do same. So for that reason, Mr. Presiding, we are not here to wish harm, but rather to do things in line with the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. We are all guided by the laws of this nation. I realize that the issue under review has to do with questioning the ability of the Supreme Court, whether they have the constitutional mandate. When the proceeding, the impeachment proceeding is taking place, or a bill is about to be formulated to impeach, whether they have the constitutional mandate to have a writ of prohibition. And I said yes. Can you quote it? And I quoted Article 66 of the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, which gives the Supreme Court the power. So for that reason, Mr. Presiding, in my mind, I think it is necessary, as stakeholder of this nation, as people, deputies, that we have been sent to do a piece of job, we should be able to dichotomize between deduction and induction reasoning. In my mind, I think it is necessary, Mr. Presiding, that the Judiciary Committee of this House, along with the ad hoc committee set up to review the communication sent by the Supreme Court and see the pros and cons holistically so that we can make a decision, but we should not make a hasty decision. You will go there. Mr. Presiding, we just emerged from civil war and we're looking for peace.
Hold on. Wow. What are you bringing civil war? Hold on. The many people want to.
Okay, Mr. Presiding, I agree. In order to engender good coordination under our doctrine of constitutionality, under Article 3 of the Constitution, we talked about coordination and also talk about separation of power. For us to force ahead and bring this country on a calm atmosphere, we need to do due diligence. Whether the Supreme Court is doing things out of emotion, we should not be emotional as well to respond. We should play the elderly role by receiving the communication. Either the presiding and the leadership can form a team to meet the Supreme Court member as to what led to their decision as a stakeholder of the country to to have come in the country. So people may have the right to vote as majority, but minority had a say. So presiding the entire process that leading to the impeachment, I think is in a hasty move. So for that reason, I ask that their decision be halted and a real consultation be held so that we can come with an informed position. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Honourable Speaker, distinguished. I just have a few questions that have doubts in my mind. And on what grounds